So I made a video the other day talking about the hubris and cockiness of Nintendo coming off of the success of the Switch, and now they come out with this banger. The stupidity just knows no bounds with this company. So the president of Nintendo, whose name is Doug Bowser, did an interview with CNBC about the Switch 2, the pricing, the availability, the safety. They covered a lot of different topics. But the sticking point for me was when they asked about, the pricing of the Switch 2 and how people are going to afford it. And they pretty much had a Mattrick moment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when the Xbox One came out, or was about to come out, the head of Xbox, Don Mattrick, made an extremely stupid comment about if you don't have an internet connection and don't want an always online console, we have a system for you. It's called the Xbox 360. And if you don't remember that or never saw it, I'm going to show it to you right now.
A box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice, and I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message if you don't like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean,
lo and behold, Don Mattrick was not at the company much longer after this. These executives are so tone deaf and, blind to only what they see and not the struggles of real people. And Nintendo just had one of those moments. The Switch is going to be $450, which, to be honest, I don't think it's that outrageous. I think the price of the Switch 2 is totally reasonable. Like, I thought it was going to be $400, but $450 is okay. Like, for what you're getting, like 120 frames per second in handheld, it's going to be quite a device. So, with inflation and everything else, I don't think $450 is really that bad. So the fact that they kind of stuck their foot in their mouth when they said this comment I'm about to read you is a little bit shocking. The games are more the sticking point for me. The $80 games. That's crazy to me. I was still getting used to 70. I said that last time. But, so Doug Bowser, during an interview, they acknowledged that the $499 cost might be out of the range of some people. So he said, "We recognize there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available so people will still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be a part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in." Like, why even say this? Like, you could have just kind of, reiterated the fact that, prices have gone up since, the last 8 years when the first Switch came out, and just tell them that, the $450 is a reasonable price point for the technology that is inside of this handheld, and just keep going back to that. You do not need to say, go back to our old console, which everybody's done with. It's been out for 8 years. It was amazing. I still love it. I'd be fine playing my original Switch really for the next 4 or 5 years, to be honest. Frame rates and graphics don't really mean that much to me. I'm still amazed that I get to play games that I love from the 360 and PS3 era on the go. Like, that still feels like magic to me. But I'm old. I know everybody wants, better frame rates and better graphics, but I'm still like, ooh, look at my old games working on the go. That's still amazing to me. But I know everyone else is ready to move on from the first Switch and move on to the second one. But the fact that, like, they kind of saw what happened with Mattrick when he said this back all those years ago, and now they're saying the same thing. Oof. It's such a oh, that's such a cringy moment. I can't believe that they did it. And this goes right in line with what I was saying in my last video about, is this going to be the Wii U Part 2? Because they're so cocky. And here's more evidence that they are so tone deaf. And people are hurting right now, and the 450 for a game system, even though I think it might be justified, is a lot of money. And put on top of that $80 per game. I know some of them are going to be 70, but I'm still having a hard time getting used to 70. And you're going to have to buy the subscription service to use the chat button, the C button, on their controller. So they're nickel and diming everything. All of the accessories have gone up in price. And I heard that the Pro controller is kind of the same. It feels the same. They just added, the C button and those little back buttons. Does anyone actually use those back buttons? I've never actually used those. But I will give Nintendo credit. They have said that your old Nintendo controllers for the Switch will work on the new one, which is great. So if you already have the original Pro controller, I have a ton of different I should show my collection off of all my controllers. I have a ton of controllers for the Switch, so I'm really excited that those will all work. So that's great. So I'll give them that. But everything else is just reeking of greediness and tone deafness. But I'm going to keep, I don't know, man. I'm going to keep hope that Nintendo's going to right this ship and put out a great console. And I'm hoping, I don't know, I'm hoping that they might lower the prices, but I don't think so. But let's admit, Nintendo is not used to this kind of criticism. They usually just say, this is the way it is, and we accept it, and that's kind of the way it goes. But I don't know about this time. I'm getting really nervous. I want this to be an amazing console, but the way they're nickel and diming us and these comments they're making are not instilling me with confidence. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because I can't believe that they said it. Anyway, thank you guys for my 24 subscribers. We're on the road to 30. I'm so excited. It's been a great first 2 weeks. Thank you all so much for your support, and I'll talk to you next time.
I have a Switch addiction.